then you have to look elsewhere. And the elsewhere is the PowerPlatform Admin Center, or famously known as PPAC, which one of my colleagues just very sweetly came up to me the other day and said, "You've said PPAC like 15 times today, and I really wish I knew what it was." And I was like, sorry. It's just, that's because that's what you do. This is just a language that you adopt, and then you talk to someone that doesn't really know Power Platform that well. And she's like, she'd been wrecking her brain for the whole day. It's like, what is the PPAC? And then I explained it. She's like, oh, of course, now it all makes sense.
It's like
Sorry.
Jen and the IT crowd. So what does IT stand for?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Power Platform Boost podcast, your timely source of Power Platform news and updates with your hosts, Nick Dolman and Ulrike Ackerbeck.
I'm not even going to hit test record this time. You always
We're just diving right in.
Because usually we do a test recording, but I mean, you always seem to be able to level the audio out. So I thought, yeah, heck it. What the heck? Let's just go for it.
I have tools to do that.
I have trust in your ability to get us safely into a listenable kind of frequency.
Yeah, now you've
range.
jinxed it.
You are a bit low. Yeah, I know. And you're a bit low on my end, which we've kind of fixed, but now it's kind of back to what it used to be. So completely jinxed it.
Okay. Well, it's all good.
And it looks like I'm in winter darkness and you're in summer brightness, and you look so tanned and all kind of good.
I'm not tanned, but that's a whole other story.
Because I'm not tanned. And I usually, by this time of year, I am. But it's like blasting. If I do that, then you won't see me. I'll just go white. I'll just look like a ghost.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if it was going to show up through the camera, but yesterday, me and my coach did a bench press session with the shirt. It didn't go great because it was really humid and the shirt didn't fit right. And we were just trying to going with a lot of technology, just trying to get the bar to touch. So anybody who knows powerlifting probably knows what I'm talking about. Long story short, my fate, like a lot of pressure and stuff. So it happens sometimes, especially in competition. You'll see guys with red faces, a lot of the capillaries and whatever else burst. And after I looked at the mirror and I'm going, holy crap, like it was a tough session. We have another one before I leave. But anyways, that's why I'm tanned.
Okay. I feel like by now, at this point in our relationship, I should know these things. But you haven't done that so many.
I haven't had it this bad, but it was more of the bar isn't touching. So it's kind of like, what do you do in this situation? Well, you keep trying. And then of course you can only do so much because you burn a lot of energy, but then it's like, okay, let's load on more weight. To see if we can get the bar to push down further. And we tried that and kind of worked, but kind of didn't. So we have another coaching session later this week. So Worlds is next week. Yeah. What's the worst that can happen?
Oh, yeah, well, I know how it feels. But you feel okay though?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, good.
Yeah.
And I know, because you have to pull it down. The shirt's so weird. It's kind of reversing the whole thing.
Yeah, you saw me lift with the shirt too. You saw that live. So you've seen the craziness.
I know, I've seen it. And I know how, because you've explained to me how hard it is to actually get the freaking bar to touch your chest, even though it should be hard to get it off your chest, not to touch it. Yep. But I get it. I'll just close this off. Okay. I'm very prepared today, as you can tell. Okay, but let's get started with the news and updates from the Power Platform community, because the list is very long. So bear with us, people. There's so many goodies here this week. My God. Let's start off at the top with some opportunities for those of you who like these kind of things to earn some money. Or
make some paper. Woof, woof.
Okay, so we have been raving on and on and on about the Agent Academy. We do the curriculum as a workshop. We did it in Kalika. We're going to do it again at European Power Platform Conference this summer. And also Agent Academy Live on May 12th that just blew my mind. I loved it end to end. It's so good. And also they announced the opportunities and win some money. So would you like to kind of go through what it was, or do you want me to?
Well, I can talk a little bit about that the hackathon. So my understanding is you're going to be, you can go in and post, work on your own agents. Of course, inspired by what you've learned in the Agent Academy. It's open to everyone, which is pretty cool. There's a whole bunch of, there's cash prizes. You have to have your submission in, I believe it starts May 12th. So it's already started. It's already underway, but you have until June 2nd. And you have to be 18 years of older or, work with a parent. And for our fans in Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Sudan, Syria, region of Crimea, Russia, unfortunately, because of where you live, you can't participate. But there's different tracks to match your experience level. It's got to be your own original work. You have to have, I think you have a demo video involved and things like that. But basically, you're going to be building agents and kind of showing off what you've learned, hopefully with real world solutions or very practical ones. And then, you can win prizes, which is really cool. And we'll put in the show notes the link for all the details of how to enter, what your, the eligibility, the judging criteria. And I'm really curious to see what people are going to come up with. This would be really cool.
This is so cool. And I mean, June 2nd. So there's still a lot of time left to build something cool and get through it. And I mean, if you needed another incentive to go through it, then this is it, right? And if you are planning on doing this or getting started with a curriculum, go through Agent Academy Live and the recording. I know it's 6 hours long, but man, I mean, this is awesome. I will be honest, I didn't go through all of it. But I got everything up until the work IQ bit. But I must say, the Ryan Cunningham keynote, where he left us with the thought of show me your moonshot. If that doesn't register with you, that's something you haven't seen or heard before. I highly recommend seeing his keynote. This is kind of the way that Microsoft is now encouraging us to take this to the next level. And I love this thought leadership kind of idea around it. I've heard some Norwegian Microsoft people present kind of the same marketing spiel the last few weeks. And I must say, it actually resonates with me. And not a lot of this Microsoft Kool-Aid stuff do, but this is actually really good. And also we go on to see how the new flow designer, we're going to talk a little bit more about that later, but the workflow designer is just so cool. So Joe Fernandez takes us through that. And then there's a session on some Copilot Studio and MCP integration and the new user interfaces in Copilot and PowerPlatform by Andreas Adner, which we've had on this podcast a lot of times. He walks us through a lot of these new capabilities. Also, Marcel Ferreira talks us through PowerPlatform pipelines and all the little things. That was very familiar to me. I do this as a session at conferences, and it was like, yes. He covers all the basics. It's so good. Vivian Voss, who we know well from the community, takes us through testing, which was like, yes, we've been talking about testing, right? And how in this world of AI, testing becomes so important. And how do you test the thing that's supposed to test the thing? I mean, she goes so meta with this session, and it's so much fun to see kind of, she has these different metrics to test for, how to use agents to test, and how to actually do regression testing so that you know that you get the same results over time. It's just so good. So, I mean, if you have the time, put it on double speed if you like. If there's something you can skip it. But I actually do recommend everyone getting started with this. If you're new to Power Platform or agentic development, watch it end to end. Then you will know that you get a good foundation to learn all the other things. So this is now my new favorite resource to share with anyone who kind of goes, because I get these, I'm sure you do as well. I'm getting started with Power Platform. Where do I start? Especially for my colleagues. This is where you start. Right now it is, at least. So
awesome.
Congratulations to the team. Well, very well done. And I love seeing April and Dona in the studio with a little power healer. Yeah, the boot. So that was the boot. What do you call it? The stiletto, the shoe.
The heels?
Power heels? What do you call it?
I don't know. I call
she
it
had
shoes.
such a good name for it. Donna had such a good name for it. I must look it up because I love it. And it's a homage to the new Devil Wears Prada movie, of course, which I haven't seen because I live under a rock, but that's another thing.
It's all good.
So enough about my raving about that. So let's move on. But we will put links to in the show notes for all of this, and absolutely do check it out.
Yes. So moving along, of course, our buddies Josh and Charles, of course, like our machines talk about, I think they're an AI. They're a nonstop.
No, because they're not. Because if it was AI, it would be more perfect. The thing about them that's so perfect is that it's so not perfect. And I love it. Yes. Go guys.
Yeah, we're definitely fans of their work, and so now they're talking about the ability, of course, to call Power Automate flows within code apps, and they talk about the gotchas as well, and you talk about connection ownership and connection references. What, a year or two ago, we were on the trying to figure this stuff out and trying to weave our way around it, and we got Benedict on the phone say how the this, and he goes telling us no, it's not logical, but 2 steps backward, 1 step back forward. But anyways, it's just cool that it's something that Microsoft should address hopefully at some point. But anyways.
And Josh and Charles said so as well in their video, because they're all chippy and let's do this and you just need to do that and the terminal this and the security setting there and go through the documentation, and then they go into it and then they have the flow and then you have the app and then they go in and go, no, it doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? You created the connection. Oh, I need to be owner of the connection. Still doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? And it just, that's what it's like, is you have the app, you have the flow, you have all of the pieces. And actually, you know what? It's the connecting of the pieces now. That's where we're stopping. That's where we hit a little bit of a wall sometimes now. And I just also a little bit of a shout out to Petter, who helped me out in the last PowerPage portal lunch that I did, a community kind of meetup I had last week, where he showed how to work with code apps. And he did that as a demo, 20-minute long, nothing about the app. The app building part, the button, the functionality, what it can do, the fancy looking thing, not a single word. It was all about the project, the scaffolding, the prompts, the agents, the models, the connectivity, the API endpoints, the MCP servers. That's all it was about, because that is what we need to work on these days. So I feel, and I love that actually Josh and Charles don't stop the recording and edit that bit out, but I actually do go, I'm so happy we ran into this, because this is something Microsoft should improve, and this is hard, and this is what it's like. So yes, thanks Josh and Charles for keeping it real, right?
Yeah, very good. Looking forward to seeing you guys at European Power Platform Conference. Yes, and I think they have some sessions at Experts Live UK as well, which I know some of our friends are going to be presenting and doing workshops and stuff too. So shout out to all of them. Another Josh, he's based in Canada. I think so. It's Josh Cook, and he posts a lot on LinkedIn about using agents and AI in day-to-day work. It's almost, his approach is very like, come on, everybody, are you not caught up yet? It's moving along, right? So kind of almost shaming us into getting on top of this stuff. But he wrote a really interesting article. It's not even so much Power Platform related, but just going through the steps of through Copilot with Cowork, actually, I think, and creating a retro game from the 1990s. And this is something that really touches me as well, because I love I grew up in the 80s retro video games on the Commodore 64. Of course, I had friends with, Ataris and the Sega Genesis and, all of this cool stuff. So he goes through and even gets Copilot or Chat GPT to create some of the images, because that's a little bit stronger there. And it's just really good. It's a really interesting read of just using AI to kind of go through that process, not only of learning, but also if there's a retro game or something, you can get a lot of these things, but there's all these little paywalls or upgrades, whatever. Just go build your own. Build your own retro game. If you don't want to pay for Tetris, Pilot can build it for you now.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was a really good, interesting read. So yeah, good work, Josh. And continue to keep dragging us into the future with all the AI related posts and co-work and everything else.
Yeah. And this is, I think, also worth mentioning is this blog post, because I think a lot of us do this, but we don't take the time to put it into a blog post. This is so short and to the point that I could scroll through and actually read the thing end to end in a few minutes. And I got a lot out of it. And so he sums it up really well. It's the final result, it's one HTML file, is about 1,500 lines long, and also his learnings along the way. The write me a prompt for ChatGPT Claude is gold. That's really working really well for him, and he gets ChatGPT to actually create the thing on the first go. It's you don't even have to go back and iterate. That kind of work pattern is also something I've introduced to customers. And when we do courses on vibe coding, for instance, I'm I use ChatGPT or Claude to create prompts for vibe.perhaps.com. I don't spend more time in there than I need to. And they're like, wow, that didn't even occur to me that you could do that. These AI things know about each other. It's right. That's gold. And just small little nuggets like that is so important. And it adds to my workflow every time I see something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm constantly telling Claude, I said, I'm going to do this in GitHub Copilot. Tell me the best way to do it. It doesn't care. It has no ego.
No,
It's
but
kind
don't
of
you
like,
get that feeling? That is
yeah,
like,
it's like,
will it be offended? It's like
yeah,
a
like, oh,
little
yeah.
sneaky.
It's like, well,
Which is so
I
stupid.
could do that.
I know.
What do you get me to do
I'm
it?
expecting it to kind of go, why would you use ChatGPT? I can do that. It's like,
Doesn't
it's so
care.
funny, but it doesn't. It's like, yes, absolutely, no problem. I'll give you that to put in. Yeah, no, it's funny. It's funny how we humanize these agents. Yeah.
100%.
Okay, and then on the Claude code kind of theme, we also had a post from Mantan Petel, which was about kind of the Claude folder setup, because this can kind of throw me a little bit, I must admit still. It is because I'm looking, I think the reason why this throws me a little bit is because I'm still looking for the right way to do it. And then every time I look somewhere, it's like different. Like just beep. Can we just give me just this one? Can we just all agree that the folder structure should be like this? And then we all do it like that. But then I also get that, different requirements. It depends, etc. So this is one way of structuring your folders for co-work, where you have agents and commands and hooks and roles and skills and settings within a Claude folder wherever you need it. And that's going to, of course, with the Claude MD is the first thing that Claude Code reads it in any folder. So I think the most important thing that I've learned is that you have the Cloud.md at the top level of your folder structure. Cloud Code will always read that first. That can put kind of the only thing you need to have in there actually is where you have your instructions, if you want to have your instructions somewhere else, but that is by default what it will read first. So that's good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's still something I battle with too, because there's also context, right? Like if I'm working on a local project versus like our global settings as well, right? Like I fought with what I was kind of struggling with last week, and I did sort of sort it out, but Dataverse MCP server, great. I set it up. It's cool. It's working. Then I start a completely different project pointing to a completely different environment. I say, show me all the custom tables. And it's pulling the custom tables from the other Dataverse MCP server. And I'm like, no, don't use this one. Use the new one I set up. And then you have to put that into your instructions of your local, MCP servers to use and stuff like that. So it is it is good to see posts like this to help organize and get everything in the right context and for the right thing. So yeah, it's a great little, and then mixing.
And I'm still learning
kind
of the
me
local
too.
versus the global. And it's like, well, the MCP, does it have the credentials in it? Because the first time I saw that was a Miro MCP. Do you want it to be global MCP? I'm like, yeah, sure. I want Miro everywhere. We use it for all of our projects, right? I didn't realize that it had the connectivity in it and that you need one for each. And I was like, oh, okay, but for Itero, we use the same one for a lot of customers. It's just kind of the pointer that is different. So then can I then have it as a global? And then how do I know which kind of board to use in which? So yeah, it is complicated, but we're getting there. Now, actually, what I'm doing is I'm having 2 different GitHub accounts, 2 different GitHub Copilot accounts, and I mix in Codex and Cloud Code in my Visual Studio Code kind of window as well. So I'm like, I'm so dizzy. But that's something I'll sort that out.
Yeah, it's an evolution. Yeah, right. So I'm using Claude for some things, GitHub Copilot for others, and just
And also now, because of the credits, I've already ran out on my business credits, my Itera credits this month, and it's not going to renew until June. So I'm like, oh, I have a private account somewhere. Oh, I'll switch to that. And then I switched and I use that up. So now I'm on the Itera Claude one now. And so I'm now going kind of sequentially until I ran out. And then probably I can start over at the beginning when I
I'm realizing it's like streaming services at home. Like, we have access to Netflix and Apple TV and Crave and all these other ones. And I'm like, okay, can we consolidate these? And I'm also then on the business side, I'm like, oh, I have a ChatGPT subscription and a Claude subscription and a Microsoft 365. Can I consolidate these? Like, no, because I use this for this and I use that for that.
Yes, exactly.
It's all the same.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, and I also had the idea that it had to do with security as well, because I don't want to use my private accounts for my customer stuff, because I don't want to end up sending that to whatever it is, right? Or the US or not their databases. But that, of course, has to do with the model. It doesn't matter which account you're using. If you're using a model which resides in a US database, the pixels, the data is going to show up in a US database. And if your customer doesn't have that in their policy, then doesn't matter which account you use, which is stuff I have to learn, which I'm like, this should be obvious, but it's not. So I'm learning.
So I'm sure everybody is in the same boat as all of us on this. So it's like, this is our way. It's okay to be overwhelmed by all this.
Yeah, if you feel it too, then we're with you. Okay, let's move along. I saw something from Hudang today. He's also doing what we're doing.
Yeah, no. Here's another guy that's a bit of a machine, and like I think he's hit a few blocks along the way. He's kind of like even posted, okay, I need to slow down a little bit, but then he steps on the gas again and puts out some amazing content. Super like friendly, great guy to chat with. He's always calm, right? Like how's it going, Nick? Good to see you. Just it's very
all the time of the world.
Yeah. And then he puts out this content, which is amazing. So he's put together a Microsoft Copilot Studio full course for beginners, going through an introduction, building your first agent, knowledge and grounding, agent actions, the kind of all the steps too. So again, it's like, agent, like, of course, we're huge fans of Agent Academy, but then also people learn differently and there's different styles. And again, this is another angle to it. Of course, Huding is amazing in terms of creating tutorial content. So it's great. Another great resource for those that are just trying to get ramped up. And of course, that's just one of many tutorials. He has his Power Academy group as well, which I think there's like a free tier and then there's a paid subscription as well. And I think if you're getting into it, well worth it based on what I've seen for his content and everything like that. So yeah, big shout out to Huding, and check definitely another great resource in the community to get you ramped up. And I think this one's a free course too. You can dive right in.
Yep. And also Steve did the thing.
Yeah. So Steve has been kind of, we haven't mentioned Steve we're doing a long time, and sorry, Steve, we're still huge fans, and don't feel left out. It's just sort of a lot of other great stuff. Definitely a lot of posts on a lot of things around AI. Of course, Steve has his opinion on things. I think the latest I saw, there was an image of him having a beer with Satya and what Steve would tell Satya if they had a beer together, which is also a very interesting read. But this ultimately is a paid product that Steve is working on, but it is sort of, I think, showing the future of where our business apps are going. And for those of you who know Steve's business side, he has something called Rapid CRM, which Rapid CRM or Rapid Start CRM, which was a kind of a much more small business approach using Dataverse and PowerPlatform as the back end, but creating a CRM on top of that. Of course, people are wondering, but Microsoft already has Dynamics 365, but that's really more the higher enterprise level. Steve's is much more the small, medium business level, where you can get a basic CRM system with all the extra stuff you don't need kind of built into that. And as been very successful. I know a lot of people that are out there implementing and using it. I'm very happy with it. And of course, if you do need to upgrade, there is an upgrade path to get to the Dynamics 365. He and his team have created something called Rapid Claw. Now, we've talked about OpenClaw OpenClaw a few weeks ago about this, agent that basically just kind of reiterate, like you can set this up to talk to all your things. And it's just like assistant. You talk to it through a Telegram or a WhatsApp, just send it commands. It goes through, it comes back with commands. It gives you your reminders. Now he's tied this into his CRM system. That's my understanding, where instead of you going into an app and, okay, what are my opportunities or what leads am I working on? You just basically open up your phone and you just send a chat to Rapid Claw and say, what opportunities are we working on this week? Comes back. What's our revenue expected going to be? What are my tasks? And it's just going to interact with the CRM system. And it's what you kind of hear words headless CRM, meaning your CRM, you're not going through a user interface anymore. You're chatting with it through a chat bot and it's off doing its task. It has agents doing the thing, doing the calculations, kind of doing the trending, saying, hey, you should follow up on this particular opportunity because it's been a while, and, looking at the emails, the communications. So even if it's just from a learning perspective, I think it's a very interesting thing to take a look at in terms of even the provisioning, how he's going about, how he's marketing it, how in fact it will spin up on your own Azure system. So it's kind of bring your own Azure, and then this whole ecosystem can kind of built on top of that. So to me, it's like, it's very interesting going forward in terms of where business apps are going. I think Steve's a few feet ahead of everybody else. I fully expect Microsoft to kind of follow along this path as well, of course, for their more higher enterprise systems. So it's, definitely gives you food for thought. And also from our point of view as solution architects, probably is going to start changing the conversations we have with our customers. I had a customer this week, they're talking about sending out mailings and things like that. And yeah, we can configure the front end or the app and make it a little bit easier for them. But I'm also like, this could be something we could get Cowork to do as well. And with the MCP servers talking to our PowerApps, basically saying, hey, I need to do a mailing. It's only to a handful of people. Do we configure the system to do that? Or can we configure an agent and factored into Microsoft Cowork to go and do that and kind of interact that way? So yeah, definitely it's, I think showing the evolution of technology and business systems and where they're going. And Steve is really very thoughtful on all of this too. So if you're not kind of following Steve on LinkedIn, sometimes even just for pure entertainment purposes, definitely give him a follow, read some of his articles. Like he talks about, he's another article coming up this last week about hourly billing, how like Microsoft partners are going to be charging for their time. And that's something I'm pretty passionate about too, in terms of talking. And this is discussions we've had with, Franco and Sarah's course, their Extra Life course and things like that, and kind of going forward with value-based billing and just how freelancers work. So that's a whole other business side, and we can go down a rabbit hole on that, but I'll sort of back off because we have more community stuff to talk about. But yeah, check that out.
Yeah, definitely. And Steve, like I said, he's tight with this, right? So it's not something that he just spins off of his own head. He's very tightly knit with where business is going, where Microsoft is taking their direction. And he also speaks to it in the blog post. He's like, where this meets Microsoft's direction. And Microsoft has very much started from the personal productivity standpoint with Copilot, and all the tools that come natively to us always start with you and your world first, and then you can extend it and explore it if you want. And this kind of meets that direction where it's at, where it's like, this is from the business point of view, and you add it on top. So it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes for sure. Sean did a thing.
Yeah, so Sean did a thing.
Yeah. And
yeah, go on.
No, I'm loving Sean online these days because he's playing with LinkedIn so much. I see him try, like, kind of the Microsoft thing where we said you just throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Sean tries everything. And I love this. Now what he did is he just fixed the very old email that you get in Power Automate. He uses ChatGPT, throws it in there, says, fizz up. And then he throws the code back in, closes the editor, just sends it off. And of course, the email comes through looking bright and shiny. And that's actually the whole thing. And of course, working with customer insights as long as I have, and with web development as long as I have, I know the struggle that is to create an email that goes through all of the different email clients out there and look the same. You think that in this day and age, 2026, we would have solved that problem? No, we have not. So I love the idea of using AI for this, because then you will actually be able to get code. You don't have to write all of the stuff yourself. It's something that looks good, but also passes through all the different email clients, for instance, in a little bit shorter time than by trial and error as we had to do before. Oh, great post, Sean.
Yeah, well, Sean, like I've been on some of his webinars, and of course he has the Architect Accelerator program as well, which I did last year, and I have other Bridget, my wife, actually was on the last cohort for his Architect Accelerator as well. And his approach, he has said this, and I think I've heard him say this before, is everything you do, try to see if AI can help you along the way. And this is a prime example of, oh, that email's screwed up. Well, what can AI do to help me out? And he goes through it. So there's so many little things that's helped me along as well, going, can I get AI to do this? Yeah, I can. Or can I get the Claude? Like, he also got me on the Claude browser extension like a few months ago, and like, oh man, I'm using that thing all the time now. So yeah, definitely again, another great resource to follow just to see his content. And of course, he does do some free sessions and webinars and things like that. Of course, he does have his paid program as well, but definitely another definitely good resource to follow along. And yeah, big shout out to Sean.
Yes, definitely. and Sean Astrachan is who we're talking about, just to be very clear. We'll put the links in the show notes for sure. And moving on to someone else who we have mentioned a lot is Matthew Devaney had a new video this week showcasing the new workflow editor.
Yeah. So this was something I saw a screenshot a month or two ago of what was going to be the new workflow editor and in Copilot Studio for, now they're called workflows. They were called agent flows before.
Yeah.
And, Microsoft
and I
renaming.
think you can actually still create agent flows for whatever reason that might be. Yes.
So someone showed me a screenshot and I'm like, oh, is that N8N. So N8N is another competitor to Microsoft in terms of workflow. I did a course last year which used N8N and I'm like, this is really cool. You can drag itself sideways. You can have it rearranged. I was like, this is what Power Automate should be. Well, of course, Microsoft gets inspired and now they've made their editor much more kind of aligned to some of the other tools. Matt does a 20-minute full demo on this. And there's a few other resources as well that I've seen. Of course, some Microsoft announcing this and a lot of other things. So yeah, definitely that's a video to check out. And then, of course, you can dive. I think it's available now for everyone. So you should be able to dive in. I haven't tried it yet, but that's definitely on my to-do list, which of course is, as we all know, is massive, but we do get to these things, especially if I can apply them to a project, then definitely I can dive in.
But are you playing the guitar yet? That's what I'm wondering.
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. Have you created the PCF component yet? No, we scratched that off the list. Yes, we did.
A long story short, I do actually need to create it. I did write a plugin the other day I had to show a client how to do this, and PCF controls is actually on the list of things to go through, but not so much of the old traditional way, but using GitHub Copilot to actually create these things and some parameters around that. So yeah, that's probably going to spill out into some community content over the summer. So stay tuned.
Sounds good. And also, just because I just remembered, I saw a post from Jonas Rapp today talking about Andreas Adner. He got some help and now he has released the new version of the XRoom tool, Fetch XML Builder. So if you were looking for it, Jonas is actually now diving into AI work and he's getting help from AI to do the tedious release notes for him. And he has now created a new release. So we will make sure to get that in the show notes as well, which kind of don't really have the best Jonas Rapp here for me to remember. Okay. So, but yeah, the new workflow, and also we have to get familiar with the new flow workflow designer.
Yes.
Because it's part of the curriculum for Agent Academy, which you're doing a workshop in EDPC for.
This is how we learn things. We have something we actually tangibly have to do, whether it's delivering a workshop, delivering information for a client, doing project work. This is the best way to learn, is to either teach or you have to do it because, as opposed to it'd be nice to learn, maybe I need to sign up to do a concert with a guitar maybe a year from now or something. And that will force me, right?
That will force you. Absolutely. Yeah, you know what usually guys learn to play the guitar for is to get all the girls, but you already have the girls. So kind of what incentive is there? It's like, sitting in your camper van when you're on your own and playing the guitar sounds very good. Yes. Okay, so next, I just saw something I wanted to mention. I have not tried it and I don't believe in it, but Power Automate desktop flows will now finally have the self-healing capability. You remember we talked about this like 2.5 years ago?
Yep.
Yes, it's finally coming. Woohoo! So, because you have a desktop flow that you record a session and it knows everything about the web app and the UI and where the button is. And suddenly in the age of AI, the button moves. It now will be able to on its own see that this is what's happened. This is the error. Is it because there's a UI change, and run the thing again? And that's also, if you want to try this out, read the blog post first, because the areas of which this does not work is longer than the list of where it does work. Let's put it like that. So just make sure you go in and you read through it.
Yep. Cool.
So, and also something else which I love and I need to mention, because you know how generative pages is all very cool. You have a model-driven app and then you can navigate to a page and that can be a generative page and it looks so cool and slick, but it has no idea that it's in a model-driven app and it has no idea of where you are or what you're doing or what it's doing there because it has no context. Now you can give it that context. So finally, you can navigate to and from generative pages using client API, which means you can also send it parameters and data. So now you will be able to give your generative page some context for where it's at and what surrounds it, and kind of give it a map, if you will, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, because I think there was some workarounds to do that. But to be honest, I have a few generative pages in my stuff, and it's still the page. You still have to do the drop down to pick the record to get the context of, which is really hacky. So this is great because this makes it much more natural in terms of the user interface and that kind of thing. So yeah, definitely going to be diving in and checking it out. I had to do a generative page over the last week, and yeah, it was conking out on me. I had to keep changing my prompt a little bit, and I think I was trying to do a rich text editor built into my generative page, and it didn't like it, and it kept failing. So once I took out that parameter, it got to work. So generative pages has come a long way. I think it still needs a little bit more to get fully where we would really do amazing things. But still, definitely if you've not tried generative pages yet, definitely do it, because I think it's just going to give your model driven apps a really big pop. And actually, I did demo a generative page to one of my customers who have been using CRM since 2006. They were one of my very first installs, so 20 years. And of course, they fought with marketing lists and trying to do the email templates and the whole workarounds. And then I showed them a generative page to help them kind of manage the process, and they were like, "This is what we always wanted. This is so cool.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we have this before? Because we couldn't do it before."
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic. I love those stories where you get that excitement. And actually, and you know what's weird about it is that CRM solutions from back then, they kind of just still run, and they kind of just still run as they were built, because there was no interruption. There was no disruption from then to now. So if you just left it alone, it actually still works, which is a bit kind of, I like it, but then also I don't.
Yeah, because you look at those old workarounds you used to do, and why did we do it that way? Oh yeah, because Power Automate didn't exist back then.
Exactly,
stuff like that.
I know. Yeah, it's so crazy. And then something that also is not going to exist for much longer is the COE starter kit that the PowerCat team has been maintaining. So if you didn't catch us last time, I just wanted to reiterate the fact that the COE starter kit will no longer be maintained. So if you are using that and you're relying on Microsoft to support it, then you have to look elsewhere. And the elsewhere is PowerPlatform Admin Center, or famously known as PPAC, which one of my colleagues just very sweetly came up to me the other day and said, "You've said PPAC 15 times today, and I really wish I knew what it was." And I was like, sorry. It's just, that's because that's what you do. This is just a language that you adopt, and then you talk to someone that doesn't really know Power Platform that well. And she's like, she'd been wrecking her brain for the whole day. It's like, what is the PPAC? And then I explained it. She's like, oh, of course, now it all makes sense.
It's like Jen and the IT crowd. So what does IT stand for?
I love it. So what does IT stand out? No, but actually what brought me onto this was I have another resource from the PowerCat team, because they're not maintaining COE Starter Kit anymore because they have other things to do, as for instance, to create skills and plugins for Power Platform. And they have now released a new set of plugins called PowerCat Canvas App plugins, which have, there are 3 different skills now. One for analyzing Canvas performance, which is really cool. One for InfoPath, from InfoPath to Canvas. I know. My mind as well. My mind was like, wait, the time Wayback Machine just needs to... InfoPath was like when I worked with SharePoint on-prem a bazillion years ago. For whatever reason, people still need to move away from InfoPath. So now the PowerCat team has a tool that you can use to move from InfoPath to Canvas. I'm not sure if Canvas is the right destination. So something you have to go... Well, also Canvas app to something else, but that's
Canvas
a whole different story.
Is going to be next, right?
Maybe. So that's the next, I don't know. And also migrate to Dataverse, which is the third one. So just wanted to, and also I saw one of my good friends in there has the initial commit, which was really good. So kudos to Rue Santos. Very well done. I love having good friends in high places. So that's just for me to feel very cool. So that's really cool. So check it out and adopt it as soon as you can.
Yeah, I've been trying out the Dataverse skills and the solution architect skills, and just sort of course, using the skills to create Power Pages sites. Actually, I've got Claude been cooking for 3 days on something that I'll talk about later, using those skills. It's a it's amazing, all of these things. And then the fact that these skills aren't these black boxes, they're not DLLs or plugins, just they're markdown files.
No,
Like I
I know.
lived and
I can
breathed
read them.
markdown for 2 years. So I'm like, this is so readable, and you can create it, you can edit it. And then even your agents can update these markdown files on their own when you kind of give them permission, and you keep memory of what you've been doing. And it just, anyways, we could do a whole other session on markdown.
I know. It just feels like home. I love it. It's so easy to adopt. I mean, and also, so I have a colleague, his name is Skill. Shout out to Stig Ark. He showed me the other, he's like, oh, I've been cooking this little, I just need to show you something. And I'm like, okay, between meetings, he's like, oh, can I just show you this? And then he brings up a website called Stig's AI brain. I'm like, what did you do? He's like, I created an AI brain. What did it do? He's like, yeah, this website is just for me to show off what I've done. But actually what it does is it keeps track of all his agents, all his plugin, all his skills, where he found them, how to update them, goes and grabs the repos often. He has a whole file structure so that whenever he needs it, it can just pull where it is. And then also he has initiators. If he's starting a new Power Pages project, he just initiates a new Power Pages project, grabs all the things he needs, the Playwright MCP, the Database MCP, the Power Pages plugins. It's just my mind. And it's like all empty files. I'm like,
Yep.
what the fuck? It's so cool. And then it had its little graphics, and it was just, because it showed a whole kind of node system of how all the different things were linked together, which actually looked like a freaking brain. And when he hovered over the Power Pages project, the items connected to a project like this lit up in the brain. I was just, that's so cool. So shout out. But also, to your point, there is help to be had, because we now have the new Agentic Administration Power Dataverse admin skills now available in public preview, announced on May 12th.
Yeah. And I took a look at this about, and this is where we talk about PPAC. Like, oh yeah, just go into PPAC and do this, or go into PPAC. And then, but now this is a way, like, again, I've mentioned this other places, I'm spending more and more time in Visual Studio Code or Claude Code or these things. You now have this, these admin skills that you can put in. And then, now instead of going to PPAC, it can go do these things for you. Now, of course, I've seen some people say, but admins are also has to be very deterministic as well. So they'll use scripts. But I also see this, if you're more of a script person, this could probably help you create your scripts if you're a little bit more control freak, which is not a bad thing for an administrator. So regardless of sort of where your mind goes in terms of your comfort level, this is still going to be really an amazing resource, because it's just, yes, I don't want to go to PPAC and click these 3 things. I do need to write a script to do it. Here's the skill so I can get AI to do it, but I don't quite trust AI. So maybe I can get AI to say, write me a script that I can review to go through and do the thing, like, turn on an MCP server or configure something, or you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely, it looks really, really cool. And this is something I'm definitely going to use.
Yeah. And also think, to your point, that so what you're talking about is infrastructure as code in PowerPlatform, which we've, it's been a thing for a while, and all the new advancements that we've seen and talked about over the last year has all been moving in that direction, where we kind of, at some point, I think we can go back into the recordings and check, we kind of go, well, at what point don't you need PPAC anymore, the visual interface, because actually the supporting infrastructure behind it now, and through the CLI, is actually now more powerful. And we see the results here, because what this is it's not to replace the scripts that help you bulk or set up or do the infrastructure as code that you need to set it up the same way every time for you to manage it. This is for management, maintenance, bulk delete, long-term retention, and capacity management. This is what's coming, and this is what's available. So says here, settings management, read and update 37, allow listed Power Platform admin center toggles across environments, MCP, audit, retention, recycle, bin, search, blah, 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 blah. So it's still very kind of specific what it is that you can do and cannot do, and capacity management is coming soon. So imagine having the ability, like I said, not having to go through PPAC to look through everything, but just to ask it questions. Show me what our capacity is like. Show me what we have enabled and not. Give me a rundown of all the AI capabilities that we have enabled, and give me that as a report across all the environments. Now we're talking replacing COE. Now we're talking advanced capabilities that we have without setting up all the reports and all the flows and all the apps to get us to be able to do it. We can get it right in the conversation with the agent that we are using.
And then take that a step further, use something like Microsoft Cowork to say, create me a dashboard that talks to these, that uses this interface, and give me a dashboard of my system performance or my capacity, and send that to me on a daily basis. Or if there's thresholds being reached, do that.
There you go. That's the upside.
Yeah, pieces are coming together.
Monitoring. Imagine having then a set of agents monitoring all your customers, for instance, if you're a vendor or a partner like us, and to kind of always just give you the green light or if something's off. There is a Cloud Code plugin, and there's a GitHub Copilot VS Code plugin for you to use, for you to access this. So this is really cool. This is one of those game changer thingies that actually changed the directory, because we have a roadshow coming up because COE is deprecated. We need to get all of our customers on board into this new way of working with PPAC. And I see this and I'm like, the whole plan that we made, and let's move in this direction instead, because this is what we need to be doing going forward, right? So, and by the way, the developers, they love it. So maybe the admin people are scared, but the devs love it.
Yeah. It takes that, you got to love it if you can take that tedious out of your work and allow you to be a bit more creative. And this is with all of these things coming together. Like, it's interesting. I ran into a buddy of mine yesterday in the store, Ian Johns. Shout out to Ian, because I know he listens every so often. But he was saying, like, how things going with work? And I was like, it's great because I'm able to be much more creative. And he's like, me too, because working with like Claude and GitHub Copilot and all these things, he's like, I'm getting the agents to kind of write this code, and I can spend more time on the creative parts. And I feel the same way. And I think you and I have discussed this a little bit too. It's like, I think before, maybe last year, a little bit, okay, this is overwhelming, all of this stuff. And is our job changing? And it's like, yeah, but it's like, okay, this is cool where everything's going. And we still feel very valued, because it's sort of like we're realizing, as smart as AI is, how stupid it is. And so how we need to guide it, direct it, give it its direction, and use it collaboratively like a tool. So like all of these things, like, with the code development tools, the reviewing, the documentation, the administration. And it's just taking a lot of that boring, tedious work out of it and allowing us to use the fun part of our brain, this together, and coming up with really cool solutions. And it appeals to my impatient side of coming to cool solutions a lot quicker than it would have normally.
Oh yeah, definitely. I also saw a video from Scott Houseman about choosing the right thing to work on is now becoming harder. He has 1,000 agents working on 126 projects. It's like, how do I choose and it's not just about the most pressing thing, but also because that's not so pressing anymore, because you'll get to it in a minute. But also, how was my body feeling? And what can I deal with at this moment? Do I want to do some triaging? Do I want to do some error handling? Do I want to do some documentation? Do I want some architecture work? Where's my brain at? Where's my energy level at? Can I learn now, or do I need to exert? Maybe we can take this opportunity to kind of check in more with where we are and what it is that our energy level afford us to do, and then choose the right work for that. Suddenly, That's kind of quite cool. I saw a link in here that I can't really open. It's a LinkedIn link, but that's fine. And then I see a COE starter kit link, which we already talked about COE going away. But then you have a promo?
Well, yeah, I actually talked to someone in Germany, Mirko Peters, who has a podcast as well, where he talks to different people in the community. We had an interesting chat, and he turned this around quick, because we chatted Friday morning, and he put it out, I think yesterday or even the Saturday. It was like, it's an audio conversation, but just talking about, it was with me, and just sort of, I talked a little bit about a lot of things we talk about all the time, about the future of agentic development and how I kind of work and how I see things going. And I made some predictions, and we kind of joked about, okay, we got to touch base in a year to see if my predictions are right. So if you're not sick of hearing my voice, you can check that out in my conversation with Mirko, which was, a lot of fun. Mirko's based in Germany. And we had a good little chat there. Again, shameless self-promotion.
I love it. But actually, the fact is, I opened this up and I didn't realize that it was you. So this is a very good case of AI slap. I'm sorry, Mirko, but this you have to do again, because that picture does not look like you. So I didn't catch that this was... No,
all the AIs give me hair
so far. And because I try to use AI to edit you, and it's impossible because it doesn't look like you. So he has to do that again. He has to do it properly. So yeah, sorry, dude.
Okay.
But it's fun, and I'll of course I'll listen to it because now that I know that it's you, I definitely, and maybe some of it will be familiar to me. But I was like hearing your thoughts about this, and I love bringing the thought leadership to the table and spreading it out, because even though we talk about this a lot on the post, we don't reach everyone. So this is a good opportunity to kind of get it out there. So I do see the value in that.
Cool.
Can I just close out with 2 little community shout outs as well?
Absolutely, yes.
So first of all, do you see this little guy right here?
No, or
This
maybe,
little
yeah.
pig, this little bit of piggy, little down there. And this is from Sandra Keel. I saw her in Tallinn. She gave me this lamp. It's a Minecraft pig lamp. It actually does light up, which is really sweet. And you know, my son is no, it's run out of batteries because it's been in my son's room forever. And then, or since then, he's now in the phase where he will gift his things that I gifted to him back to me because he's very appreciative. So he's in his appreciative phase where he gives me his things all the time. So it's now back in my room and I love it, but it's really sweet. And thank you so much for the gift. It was really cool. And also I have my PPAC, no, a PP, not
PPPC.
PPAC. I was in PPAC too many times.
Yep.
How many times in an episode can you say PPAC? PPCC 2025 t-shirt. And this has been in the mail from EY Coleman in the UK 3 times and come back. It's not cheap to send email with, so thank you, EY. And finally it got here. So I just needed to shout out to EY for being persistent and sending me these t-shirts. So thank you so much. And with that, I think we're going to close off. Next episode will be June 3rd.
Yep.
The day after the deadline for the Agent Academy hackathon money thingy.
Yep. We'll so hopefully see a few of you in Dynamics Minds next week. I'm heading out there this weekend, 2 sessions. Should be a lot of fun. And it'll be a good time. And also, it's somebody's birthday this weekend coming up. So happy birthday to you, Ulrika. So
thank you so much, Nick. I really appreciate that. So looking forward to it. I'm going to treat myself to a spa day.
Perfect.
It's going to be very good.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to love that. So yeah, and until next time, take care and have fun.
Yep.
All right. Catch ya later.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, please make sure you share it with your friends and colleagues in the community. And be sure to leave a rating or a review on your favorite streaming service. That makes it easier for others to find us. Follow us on social platforms and make sure you don't miss a single episode. Thank you for listening to the Power Platform Boost podcast with your hosts, Ulrika Ackerbeck and Nick Dolman. See you next time for your timely boost of Power Platform news and updates.